Welcome to the first edition of the Investment and Innovation Forum in the Bioeconomy in the Amazon. This is brought to you by a Concertação para a Amazônia and the Consortium Interstate of Legal Amazon Consortium. We understand that the Amazon diversity has unique elements for all humanity to live better. Not only the fauna and the flora are important for the health, but the regulation of the climate in the world. Peoples, cultures, arts, soils, waters, cities, and communities. We believe that keeping the Amazon sustainable and alive involves everything and everyone that are here. We need to conserve biodiversity using science and technology allied to the sustainable development, always having at sight better conditions of life for everybody who are here. We want not only to keep the forest standing, but we want more standing forests, more biodiverse and sustainable, less social and territorial inequalities. We understand the Amazon bioeconomy and the social and economy activities are allied to this sustainable development we seek. So I invite you to participate in this forum. We want to bring new voices, different experiences and points of view, and to find synergies and ways for a more prosperous and resilient Amazon. These are talks for everybody, for the people who seek investment, options to invest, who propose public policies, and everybody who wants to understand more about bioeconomy in the Amazon. Shall we? Good morning, everyone. We are here for one more panel in this event that is very good, that is happening this week and the next. We are on panel number 7, and we are in the panel impact investment on the Amazon from the forest floor to the ESG. For people who don't know what ESG is environmental, social, and governance. This is an acronym. What will we discuss here today? The title says it all. We will work today with, we have what we call the forest bioeconomy is very focused. We are very focused to making this work. For that, we need to make it have value, and the businesses that this forest will generate part of this value other than the environmental services. We will discuss in this panel the different types of businesses that want and can help what we call the ecosystem of businesses that involve innovation, entrepreneurship, and we have since businesses by extractivists, indigenous, by communities and riverside communities, isolatedly in or in cooperatives, which are closer to the forest floor, closer to the tree, as someone say, from startups or a little bigger businesses, more structured, that are looking at these forests to offer services and products, and I have bigger companies, industries who are at the business end of this chain, and they have these ESG policies. This is a concept that the corporate world created, and it will anchor their form of producing, connected to the environmental issues, respecting sustainability, generating value to the society for the communities, for example, who are in the forests, and also with bigger governance, being transparent in the decision making, with more being more serious in this decision making. This concept of ESG is connected to the corporate world and has been created by economists as investors that wanted to understand more of these policies within the companies. This is a concept that makes the company to look at their production chain and who will I buy it from, who are these people, and I'm helping this chain to improve society and these businesses that improve the situation in the forest. This is a connected world, at least it should be. So, what we will discuss here are the main bottlenecks, but also the solutions, alternatives, and how other elements such as credit, investments, and investors can help these worlds from the community business in the forest, going through startups, and up to industries. How can we make this world connect more? Because today we still have cases, we don't have scalability of these businesses connecting with each other. So we will discuss why this lack of connection exists. Of course, there's a lot of things we don't know about, but we have this type of event that is happening this week to bring more light to a lot of things that sometimes are not so obvious, to work more the part of public policies, also the private policies, social organizations, which is the base for these businesses that are closest to the forest. So we are very delighted to get to receive such guests here today to bring some of this knowledge, and from these conversations we will have more knowledge and be more sure of the paths we want to go on to activate and make these chains of the forest to be more and more sustainable and to generate prosperity for the Amazon region. I want to thank the people who are invited, the coordination of the event, people who are working and worked for this event to happen, and to say how important it is for us to have such an event. I represent the JPS Fund for Amazon, and we support very strongly that in really the economy of the forest can in 5 to 10 years to reap what we are sowing today. So today we have business managers, specialists in the finance areas, in investment, and we will also have today someone representing a financial institution. We will start with Raimunda Rodrigues. She's a cantineira from the Cantina Network in the Terra do Meio, and she's a manager at the mini plant for the processment of forest products that are non-related to wood. So Raimunda is a very important leader, a woman Riverside leader, and we appreciate your participation here. So could you tell us how this business is being managed in the community? What's changed to you? And how this relationship with these companies that buy your products? Please tell us a little about this business. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. You're welcome. It's a pleasure to be here and to bring some of the story of our way of living, what we are fighting for, telling some of the story before the creation of the plant. We had a big problem about the publicizing of our products, the knowledge about our products. We, we as forest dwellers, we had this product that we didn't know until where our product reached. So the creation of Resex in 2011, we were able to create the Cantina network and the mini plant. Explaining what the Cantina is, it's a market that is in the forest. It's a community market where you buy the products of the forest and you also sell the merchandise that person there wants. So we started focusing more in forest products and have more value in our products. So we started with some partners. The Environmental Institute was with us from the beginning. And we said we want to get to know the companies, to negotiate directly with them, for them to know our way of living, our quality of life here, so that when they buy our products, they know that they are buying our story as well. And we got to this relationship with the companies. We have a yearly meeting. We didn't have these couple of past years because of the pandemic, but we were on a 9 year streak with of this meeting with government and companies, institutions, partners, and every year in May we're able re- to unite these companies that are relating to us business wise, as Brazil Nuts, Babasu. Today we are able to close the contracts, to close the deals with directly with the companies. The companies come from outside and we tell our way of living for them. They tell us the difficulty in logistics that they have. They get to know our work. They go in the bush to see how we do the work. And this improved our relationship a lot because they came here to know our story. So they gave this quality, added quality for our product. They understood that they could get it closer to their homes, but they understood that if they came here, they would get in touch with the story of living of the people who do this, the guardians of the forest, as they put it. These people are fighting to keep this forest standing. I always say to the companies, to the partners, let's publicize this. If these people here have no one to buy their products, how will this forest that is already so diminished, so deforested, if the people who are the guardians of the forest are not able to have subsistence from this, the forest will end. So we fight a lot for this, and thank God we were able to break this link, to talk with the company and to send our products to Rio, Sao Paulo, We get to know each person who buys, and the technology has reached us. And I'm from the meeting from inside our community, and to have internet here and for us to communicate, to first communicate with the companies. And then each time we worked, we thought of a way to grow, not only to be in that old way, but we also said that we also sell the product raw and benefited to reach a better value and to give incentives to young people to work. This is when we created our plant.
And my father and my mother and my father got sick, and now my brother is now is working on it. So we have 90 years working on this plants, and we have 12 people working inside our plant. That is a mini plant, that is a mini factory working with the timber and the castor oil, the Dutch oil and the flour from Babasu, and we are able to sell this to the schools for the children to eat. And that added more value to our community and more revenue, because when the canteen is buying the people's nuts, that we are paying a price for these Brazilian nuts, and then we get this person to benefit inside the mini factory, they are winning two lives in the same product with the same product. So we are producing in this many plants. They are working and they are making twice the same product. So it's very gratifying to those who wants to work with this. At first, it was very difficult because it's a project from the forest. The people from the city, the big cities who use the big machines, they never thought about creating a machine that was going to work with our products, that is going to mold this flour. And as it was a wheat, they never thought of that. They never thought about an oil press to retrieve the oil from the Brazil nuts and the oil from the babasu. So it was very difficult to create this. But with the help of our partners, we contacted the companies that produced the machines that work with other types of oils that were made pet food with corn, and we adapted, and we could adapt these devices that was working with the corn, and we created something in order to create inside the community. And we brought the technology with the companies inside the community. We were searching for everything. I worked in 2015 doing this technology work for recognizing the machines that were breaking so much, so what I could change. So I spent a little time working with this part of recognizing the community, and we worked with 5 mills to grind the babaçu flowers. And now we have another machines that went that is more successful now, because some people don't like it because it was a lot of iron and there was a lot of dust, and some people prefer to use nickel, that it's better for the health. And now we adapted some things, and now we are using a machine that today we are working with 12,000 tons of babaçu flour, and thank God it was successful. Now we are implementing new factories. That is the old ones, and this shows more technology to the other mills, and we created our own A woven. That is a dehydrator of the Brazil nuts almonds. So we had to dehydrate this nut to spend more time, to last more than 6 months in order to sell it. So if we say how much you're going to pay for this machine, we have to think about the energy, the electricity, something that is going to be a burden for us. We don't have electric energy. We have only solar power and we have a generator, but it's very far from the city. So we have to think about a way to make an oven in a work that we already have, that we are already used to doing. And then this oven, we started making in the same way that we used to do. So the babasu has a part that is very hard. It's like a timber, it's like a wood. So in this part, we used to create charcoal to use in the same oven. So we created a dehydrator that was used with fire, with wood fire, that without energy, without electricity. And then we created this dehydrator. We worked with three in the tests. We did the first one and it didn't work. The third one, it didn't happen the same thing. There was a lot of smoke. And in the end, we created one with masonry, with a plate of iron. Everything is studied with the technicians in the socio-environmental institutes that was working with us. And then we created an oven that the Brazil nuts in 3 days is totally dry. We're using only the wood fire. And then the Brazil nut is the same way that we can sell it in 3 days. And the oven can support, can bear 200 kilos of Brazil nuts every time. And that was very gratifying. It is being very gratifying to be able to take this knowledge to the other canteens, to the other mini mills, mini power plants. And it was not easy. It was a very hard struggle of knowledge and being able to put our food in the school meals. We had the knowledge of the product, but not the city. And every time we were fighting with the the state in order for them to accept the product from the forest. And by accepting the product from the small farmer, this is what we usually use to use that inside our school lunch, our school meals. And so we would spend a lot of time eating canned food. We were taking care of our health in our community, but not in our schools. But in schools, it was not with a quality service, quality products. Now we have a good acceptance. It's not the perfect one, but in the municipality of Altamira and Vitória do Xingu, we are selling this product now. So it was not easy in order to trade this, all this. It was a very hard struggle. But we are here to fight. We are here to deal, and we are here to learn a little bit more every time we see a meeting like this. So it's very gratifying when we are invited to tell our story. It is a long story, and we don't have a lot of time when we have a life story. And this is a story of acceptance, of knowledge. As I always say, inside we were stuck. I am 32 years old and I was born and raised here. And by speaking in this meeting, the government let the people who were coming doing what was best because we couldn't say what we didn't want. We couldn't say that no, we don't want that. We want you to negotiate with the company. We now the government is allowing us to say what we want, to fight what we want, to fight for what we are looking for. So we have a voice to go after this. Wonderful, Raimonda. Excellent presentation, excellent testimony. We would have many other questions to ask you, but let's wait for the next round because we have other people to speak here and the audience who is watching us. For those who just joined us, Raimonda just talked about the experience that she has in the middle grounds with the community of the business that they carry out. There are many non-timber products, Babasu, Brazil nuts, and others, showing that with the support of ISA and other institutions, other organizations, we are going to talk about more about this, they put together a small factory that benefits these products, an oven that helps to create more durability to the products, and that's added value and made them more excited to continue in this process of connections with other buyers, improvements of the quality of the product, and to make this business become more of a business. The people are going to buy from it because it is a good product, it is a program that has quality and has history. So it was a wonderful testimony. Of course, there are a lot of challenges. You mentioned two challenges here, the logistics and the energy. I can imagine that you have challenges about the price. How do you reach a reasonable price? And also the licenses, the packaging, and to make your product known. So it is a challenge of a business that is in the middle of the forest. So now I'll pass the floor to Leonardo. Leonardo Letelier is the founder and CEO of the Sitawi Finances of the Good, and he has more than 20 years of experience in business, finance, and social sector. He was director of the initiatives Economic Citizenship for Everyone's in Ashoka, and he worked at McKinsey for 8 years. He has an MBA by Harvard Business School, and he's a production engineer by the University of São Paulo. Leonardo, that works with the ecosystems of finance of impact, he's going to talk to us about this connection. We are seeing here that inside what we call the impact ecosystem, this business in the base of the chain, as Hamunda just presented here, made by extractivists and other traditional communities, there is one part that are the startups that usually come from the urban endeavors, entrepreneurship, the people that left the university. They went to MBA and they studied a lot, and they really want to put their productive energy to business that generate impact and looking at the forests, looking at the products and services of bioeconomy. There are two different realities that many times need different stimulus. So I would like to hear from you, what is the common link between these ecosystems and how can one reinforce the other in their needs? Thank you very much, Leonardo, for being here. So feel free to start. Thank you very much, Andrea and the organizers for the invitation. I can see here that the color of my shirt matches the color of the event. This is great. I'm going to deviate a little bit here before I reach your questions because it's important to highlight some points here. When you were introducing me, you said that I work in the finances of the goods. So when we say finances of the goods, when we think as successful, is exactly that the capital flows to those organizations and initiatives that have social and environmental impact. We didn't talk about investments, we didn't talk about donations. These are other capitals and other resources to flow, and we believe all of them are important. So we have an area in Setawa that we call territorial programs that we developed, programs in the Médio Juruá with the support of Youth Sites and Coca-Cola and Natura that is totally based in philanthropy. We have the support of co-ops and other chains, but it is a logics of non-reimbursable capital. And we also have a second area of impact investments that work with the logics of the responsible capital. Investments that the resources goes, but it has to come back to those who lended the money. And a third area of philanthropy that has many funds that support the Amazon, but that's not the focus here. And we have this diversity because we believe that all these types of capital are important. They are important for the development of the region. So when Raimunda that gave a brilliant presentation when she was speaking, we can realize that she mentioned many organizations. Okay, I'm in the home office. You can realize that she mentioned many organizations and supporters and partners and business that are involved. So this is not this is not a silver bullet. There is not one thing that can solve all the problems that is going to unlock all the conservation or the sustainable development of the Amazon.
You need, in fact, a lot of these actors and capitals, several types of capital. When we bring the issue of the forest businesses and urban business with a more startup skin, what are the common challenges? What are the different challenges? And some challenges are common to business independent on where they are. You need to have good management, an attitude, a more entrepreneurial approach. You need support, accounting, etc. We need to give value to your product, to give price to your product. This is common to everybody. Certainly, what's different is the degree in which this exists or is lacking in the region. In a more urban area, it's easier if you're further from the urban center, it's harder to get an accountant, for example. Training is key for everybody. Maybe you will find better providers in the city than in the forests. There's something that the further we are from the urban centers we are, it gets harder, which is infrastructure. Raimunda was saying that when the company goes there, they say they take several days to get there, and it's true. They are far from the Rio São Paulo axis, but it's a couple of hours flight. This infrastructure issue, we're not talking about roads. It shouldn't be roads. It's internet connectivity, refrigerated boats, not only to have internet, but internet that is predictable. We don't have the office anymore where we had, but we used to pay 2,500 reais for bad internet. All this infrastructure that would include a good network of accountants that understand the day-to-day of these organizations and all these support services. This is missed much more as far as you are from urban centers. This is the relationship between more common and more different between the situations. All this matter of infrastructure is a common ground. If you try to solve it for one business, for your business, or for the business you invested, it won't add up, and the investor will not want to go forward. There's an important movement here that can be done that is collective. So it looks more as a non-reimbursable capital, which supports the development of the region. One boat or a network of refrigerated boats, it will pay itself, not necessarily on day one, but you will need more patient capital, non-reimbursable capital, who is okay with the risks, but for several businesses, not for only one. This is a piece of the solution. As you said, I don't want to hear problems anymore. I want to hear solutions. This is a piece of a solution. But there's another important piece, which is rebalancing the expectations of the investors. For us to have an approach Fifth Avenue approach for something from the interior, it's not the businesses that are wrong. You are wrong. You have the expectation that is not compatible to the situation. At Citao, we have this position of what the Americans say impact first sector. My priority is impact. I also want return, but impact comes first, positive impact. And for this, we will do things that are different from the what the common investor would, what we call blended finance approach, where we use some philanthropy, some guarantees, some government-based lending. And in this sense, we created a collective credit platform. I don't know if you can put on the screen there www.emprestimocoletivo.net. And we work in rounds. I think that the next one, which is the second in July, I think, is focused on the Amazon. So why is this platform different? Because we have the support that we give to the ventures, to the entrepreneurs, that it's not a part of the value of the credit. All this work of origination and due diligence, hiring and support to the ventures from the forest during 2 years or 3 years, this is financed by philanthropical capital. With this, we bring opportunities to the platform. We'll get uh, refundable capital. People will go there and lend up to 1,000 reais to make these businesses possible. And we try to make this bridge between reality in the sector, in the field, in the forest, better say, with what the traditional market, maybe already connected to the cause, expects as a risk return profile. An advantage of this model it is that it's focused on real people. It invites people to look at their money and think, how can I invest this money aligned with my values, aligned with my desires to keep, for example, the forest standing? This will be probably a different answer than what they give today. It's probably in the bank and in a fund that they probably don't even know what is invested in. And this change of level of conscience is important because we will not solve the problems of the forest with the same mindset that brought these problems to the surface. We won't be able to change that, but we have to make the bridge so it will be possible for the change to happen. So we can continue going forward from where we stand. I think this approach, thinking about common goods and to finance them with a capital that is adequate for that, and we have to remember it like this. I think this is an approach that has more potential of success to make the ecosystem more dynamic than to for us to look at discrete solutions, vertical solutions. Very good. Thank you, Leonardo. You bring a couple of issues that are very important. One is this collective organization movement in the business environment we call how the businesses organize in the sector. We hear a lot about this. For us not to depend a lot on the government, and we know the public policies are not available all the time. And I'm talking about philanthropic capital for leverage, all the process of training, induction of startups and Genesis, all the training for the accelerators, the situations that support businesses, like Raimunda said, these are in fact leveraging capital, what we call impact philanthropy. It will be refundable capital, but it is not attractive to the market yet because there's not a lot of interest, etc. So you're telling us that this type of solution, whether it's public policies or philanthropic capital, the organization of the sector, because together they are able to leverage, this is the solution for this type of business that is more to the base of the chain and other businesses that are going up the chain. I think that's it. These are two very interesting solutions. We have a lack of this philanthropic capital, but on the other hand, you bring a very interesting solution that is participation of real people in this process. And I can see to I see this that Brazil is traditionally is not a country that makes a lot of donations. People don't have this habit, but it reacts very well. And in the pandemic, there has been more substantial donations than normally. In a ranking of 114 positions, it's in the 57th position. We could comment later. What if this philanthropy that we need a lot, is it going away from public policies and going closer to real people who want to help, and we could focus this on the Amazon cause? Can we do this? And will this help the need that we have today with this type of support, with the exit of some international philanthropies? And this is a question for us to understand a little more. What do you think is the trend of this individual philanthropy or as an investor? Thank you. Let's see if Amiraldo is here. Is Amiraldo here? He's one of our participants. Can someone give me a hint if he's here? He's coming in a few minutes, I believe. Yeah, he told us he had no power there. Okay, so until he gets here, he's the head of the cooperative. I think he's there, isn't he? No, not yet. So until he arrives, I'll ask you, Jonah, as you are already in place. So I'll introduce Jonah to you guys. So Jonah Whitcamper is a co-founder of Nexus, of Amazon Investor Coalition, of Global Governance Philanthropy Network, and from Health Democracy Coalition. These are several networks that involve people from a lot of the most philanthropic families in the world. And Jonah is an articulator. He helps the co-facilitation and articulation between these investors and the businesses, the impact businesses. So, Jonah, this is a very valuable work to provide this bridge. And I want to, looking at the point of view of the investors that you bring in your life story, we want you to analyze what these investors see as the best possibilities for investment in the Amazon. What risk are they in fact willing to take? Are they looking at the impact? Of course, impact is a bullet there, but they want financial return. What kind of investor is there that could invest in the Amazon, and what are they seeking? Thank you for your presence here. We have we value your look a lot because it's from the outside. From the inside here in the Amazon, we are not able sometimes to have the same kind of point of view.
Thank you very much. I am very happy to be here. I'm very honored, actually. I am a foreigner, and I apologize for my Portuguese because I have a few missing words might come up here. Well, and as a foreigner, I am very cautious with the Amazon because of environmental reasons. As a foreigner, to be very connected to the Brazilian situation in the whole Amazon, in the whole continent, and we want to help as much as we can. And few Brazilians are against the idea of investments of sustainable development in the Amazon region. So I am here representing this agenda, this economic development, the green economic development, and totally friendly to the forest, but also with the agenda of the law enforcement. If we do not have a law enforcement, a good law enforcement in the Amazon region, the sustainable development will suffer. And thank you very much for your questions. What types of investors? What is the risk that they want to take? And what is the type of impact they want? I'm going to say in different moments, I'm going to invite a team to put the links here in your screen so everyone can share the information that we are articulating. The first one is the theory of change. We believe that the creation of new sustainable jobs competes with the deforestation economy. So we want to make a great wave of new jobs, of new employment. The system of investors in the Amazon is very weak. When one investor, an individual investor, is putting money in a company, this person wants to have the ability to look at the moment when other person is going to buy that company, or when this company is going to open to international shareholders. In English, we call the liquidity event or the liquidity moment. So the lack of investors in the region shows that these companies have a little fear to reach this moment. You asked, what are the biggest investment opportunities? I think the cattle situation as a strategy of use of land does not make a lot of money by hectare. The cattle makes $250 per year per hectare, but the acai can make $3,000 per year per hectare in the Amazon region. So there is a huge difference in the cocoa, and we can gain scale and send in the sell in the international markets. And when there is a tree that invests in the cattle, that restores the ecosystem services, and it's going to end up with this threat of drought that is in the region. So since the beginning, we made a lot of research about agroforestry. We investigated the prices of 35 products from the agroforestries. So if my team can put now the group of links number 1, you can see the research that we made. So we want to facilitate for the investors this transition between the misuse, the economy of misuse of land to the good use of land with the forests. And if we can facilitate this transition from cattle to forests, we imagine that we can generate 150 billion American dollars a year over what the local farmers are making currently with the cattle and the soy. So we can create more wealth to facilitate many other things. The second thing, I'm going to mention the examples of companies of Brazilian bioeconomy that are successful. Sambazon, that is the greatest provider of açaí in the United States, Natura from cosmetic industry, and Beraca that sells raw material for companies for the whole world, including to Natura, raw material from the Amazon region. These three companies are being successful and they create jobs to thousands of people in the region. And they are companies that can attract investors and create great scale of investments. But when a company wants to create this supply chain in the region, they can hurt a lot of things. If you only work for one entrepreneur, you can create a local wealth that does not favor the whole region. So how can we collaborate with these co-ops? Many times people don't speak Portuguese. They have problems to do that. So the Beraca Institute solves that problem. If you can share now the links, the group links to the Beraca Institute is advising in this network, and they teach new investors on how to put together the supply chain, sustainable supply chain that can improve the local communities. Another obstacle is that if you have acai or rubber or cocoa that is totally sustainable, but you don't have a buyer at hand, then you can create these products or produce that in vain without any selling. So it's always important to have a ready buyer. If you have a cupuaçu, an international market of cupuaçu is not very well developed, we want to articulate great companies all over the world to in order to increase the demand of agroforestry products in the Amazon. So in the group 3, you can put this link. We made a mapping how to scale the demand, and we have 6 groups of work that we are developing. One, to organize the providers, and the other to assure that they are going to buy this, and the other to design the financial products that can capitalize these future companies. Another is to organize the investors, and lastly to meet the possibilities of making money with carbon credits, with carbon sequestration that goes out of this process. There are 6 big investors that are already in the region, and 3 of them have money from the government that help to de-risk these investments. And we are studying these investors, and we want to understand how to bring more and more investors to this region. So one of them, it's called my team here, it shared the group 4 of the links. The N Green Fund that have money from the Norwegian government, the Biodiversity Fund that was bought by Mirova with money from the American government, from the United States, and Subnational Climate Fund with money from the Green Climate Fund. There is a body linked to the United Nations, and there are 9 investments that are located in São Paulo, and they are making a wonderful work. We have the Kaite investments and the Sitawi that is represented here. So all these investment funds know how to conduct this due diligence with Brazilian companies on top of the Brazilian Amazon companies. And we want to attract more and more foreign investments on top of the work that they already make. Another objective that we want, can you put the group three of links? We want to increase the agreements between the buyers and the, the sellers. The Michelin company that buys uh, rubber from the Indonesia, they made an agreement with the North American uh, governments that they created a bond where the goal is that they are going to buy a lot of rubber, and the American government is going to put this in a viable way, and then the Indonesian communities will have a pathway of 2 years in order to build these rubber farms or sustainable rubber farms. So you want to replicate this to the Amazon region. Now, educating the investors. One thing that we do is the podcast that we interviewed the Leonardo that is available in, in the website in English. Now he put the group links number 7. We made a research about the Amazon region. We wrote an article where you can see in the link that the article is in English. The next challenge is to increase the ecosystems to make the entrepreneurship ecosystem in the Amazon regions and the investors healthier. So we want to increase the investors and the accelerators. Please, can you put the group 8 of the links? We have the A plus that was created by the entrepreneurship of the Amazon that created investments of 20 million reais, and we have partners all over the Amazon that was created by your site, and the first Manaus and then Belém. 30 companies that invest in the Brazilian bio Amazon. We have Amazon Bay that also attracted investments from Mirova that was mentioned, and they evaluated hundreds of companies and they chose 5 or 8 to accelerate. And in Peru, we have the Bio in Cuba, and in Bolivian Bio in Prop. So these accelerators and incubators are sources of foreign companies that they can invest. And the last one, now you can put the group 9 of links, is about research. We are developing a database about the plants of the Amazon region, which ones are good to sell to other companies and other countries, and the supply chain is safe or not, and what is the price. And we are also making a survey about the impact investments and how much money is arriving in the region to which industries and what are the barriers. And we are also making a research about philanthropy students about law enforcement. In this group of links, you have 2 more research that was made. One about export of products from the Amazon region from Amazon 2030. This is very important. And another study about the green wave, opportunities for investments in low carbon economy that involves many companies from the Amazon region. Thank you very much.
Very good, Jonah. You were able to give a proper panorama of these examples of businesses. Thank you. And as for what I understood, you have roles for each sector. First, you show us that the investor has a concern about the Amazon because of the current situation with the increase of deforestation, and you bring this perspective that the private sector is very important, but they are cautious, especially the foreign ones, when they think they don't have when there has been a lot of deforestation and a lack of control by the state about that. This is something that puts fear into the investors' minds, but this brings a perspective as well of that there are businesses that are working well in the Amazon, and you actually also show us possible arrangements for decreasing the risk. How can governments and philanthropic money help reduce risk and to engage buyers and off-takers for the security to be increased and the impact businesses to be developed? These arrangements are welcome for us to be able to collectively generate more business to the Amazon. And in the end, the importance of a coalition, as you guys are heading, to bring the point of view of the investor, but also the training for this investor on how can we give incentive for these meetings of Amiraldo and Raimundo for them to really get to know what is being done. I think this network has a very important role, and you guys are doing excellent work there. Congratulations. Keep doing that, and we expect for it to be an environment of much more knowledge. We know we need to generate more information about the impact on the Amazon in startups or in more developed industries. This is important work. This is an important gap that is being filled by you guys. Thank you, Jonah. We are here with Amiraldo. He's current head of the Amazon Bio Cooperative, which is in Amapá. He's a forest engineer by the State University of Amapá. He's a master in regional development and also acted as a technical consultant in a certification of forest management. He has an FSC certification on non-wood related products in the Amazon. Thank you for being here, Amiraldo. What I want you to tell us here is a little more of the experience of the Amazon Buy. The cooperative is fruit of one of the first community efforts in the Amazon, and it comprised all this community. We want to understand a little more. How does it work? What are the main challenges you face? And I would also like you to tell us how has the relationship between the companies that buy from you and you? And if you were able to tell us what have you been learning with this time that you have been at Amazon Buy? Do you think your view on business management has changed? And how do you think this knowledge on management can help to strengthen these entrepreneurs and ventures in the Amazon? Thank you. Your sound is off. Good morning, everyone. I would like to thank you for the invitation to participate here. We have a little power issue here. We had a blackout yesterday, and today's the situation's a little rough. Talking about our situation, the protocol helped organize the cooperative is fruit of this protocol. In fact, there has been done a lot of work has been done to for organizing the productive chain in the region from the demand that the protocol arose from in community management with the families. And with this huge potential that the acai chain has, we started a process of certification. And in the end of 2016, the Traditional Community Association got this community management certification for the Bali Archipelago region. And with the demand from the communities in 2017, we created the cooperative Amazon Buy. So we could commercialize the product, the acai from the region, a certified product, a product from an area that respects and the environment and does a lot of environmental work and seeking zero deforestation in the region. All the organization of the communities. This is a community economy project, and from this community organization, with the beginning of the work from the cooperative, we organized in a community level, and we're seeking other certifications with the objective of adding value to the product. And today we have the community management seal, certification of ecosystemic service, working with biodiversity and carbon. This is fruit of a characteristic of the region, having this huge biodiversity of species in the preservation of our standing forest. This community management work aims at having uh, of at reducing the deforestation in the region. And from this work that has been done with the advancing of the activity of extraction of acai in the region, we felt the need of having our own agro industry. Today, the cooperative does all the processing and commercialization and delivery of a certified product to the consumer market. We also have the vegan certification, so we can actually supply to all the markets around the world. So this is a social organization that is based on the community. All this work has the objective of increasing the income of these families to have an equal sharing of these benefits for the communities, traditional communities on the region. And our product works with part sources being destined to education. And we believe that the economic development for the region is hand to hand with education. And today, the cooperative focus some part of this profit to education and these family schools in the region to have training of the youth that will be the new leaders that will take over this role further on in the region, in the communities. They will be the leaders of the region. Our product, Amazon Buy, is different. It will arrive at the market with the guarantee that there is no deforestation in the region. It's 100% organic, and there's a base work in the communities. It's a product that guarantees the communities will be benefited. This is the product. This is the project. The JBS fund for the Amazon contributes with the development of the productive chain in the region as well, from the estuary of the Amapá River and from the Amazon. It's on the estuary of the Amazon River. It has huge commercial potential, and we are organized today. The fund, JBS for the Amazon, helps organizing logistics and access to the market, organizing our own agro industry, and so that the communities can have control of all the levels of the chain, from the production until the consumer market. So today, we're very happy to be a part of this larger project. And we want to say that the state of Amapá has huge potential to grow even more. And this Amazon Buy project wishes to be a model for the Amazon region so we can contribute with the economic development of our country. So I also want to thank and to say that the project works with all this potential of products, the amount of return in short term that it's giving to the families, in social and environmental in short term. I would like to make another question for you guys. You've had this break due to COVID pandemic, but now you are understanding better how the acceptance of this product in the market is. But have you had any difficulties because your acai is certified organic, FSC, and when you take this product to the market, does anyone pay more because you have these certifications? How does this negotiation go on? We were pioneers in the Amazon with these certifications, and we are still seeking some differentiated markets for our products. Here in Brazil, we still don't pay, there's no added value for a product from areas that have community works and the certification work, but we are pioneers on that. There are markets. We are negotiating with businesses and markets that add value to our product, but we need to be organized. And today, Amazon Buy is organized. We have a differentiated product, but the market is still growing for this public, for this sector, for this product. We had this difficulty with pandemic in 2020, and this affected all the planning that had been done by Amazon Buy. In 2021, we started our crop with all the security protocols and all the procedures for the certifications. And we are working with our differentiated product to arrive at the market and to be added value on our product. And as we are pioneers, we are still trying to consolidate ourselves in the market. This is why what we work with today. The community management is key for the success of any project here in the Amazon. And our product is our
And we work with the minimal impact management. We have zero deforestation, and we are in a moment in the Amazon where the deforestation is in its full expansion, but we are in the opposite direction. We are showing that it is possible to promote economic, social, and environmental development without destroying the nature, without the fires, without and making the conservation of our forests. And I mean, I'll do one last question to end your time. After the construction of Amazon Buy Cooperative with a professional management, as a community leader, did you see the businesses in a different way? What do you bring personally about this learning? What do you think it was important to you and to the business after you started having more access to this more professional management? Well, the more professionalized management brought a very important differential. We had a community-based work that was already organized, but from that point, from the minute that we entered this differentiated management, that improved a lot our work. It improved the strategic planning, it improved the organization of the crops, it improved the process to put a differentiated market in the product in the market, the process to sell a product with a stamp that was 100% from the Amazon. I can say that all this work of community base, of community protocol, or community organization gave us this baseline so we could, in fact, be successful in our work. We are in a learning process. We are still learning. It's not easy. Those who came from these communities, we have this difficulty to establish ourselves in the market, but we are in constant evolution and learning, searching for more knowledge so we could actually do a responsible work and a transparent work and a work that can in fact bring an economic and social and environmental development to our regions and to our communities and to our riverside communities. And in fact, allied with education, we will be able to graduate our young people, to bring women to the process so in fact they can become our future leaders, and so we can be an example not only to our state. The states look at the Amazon Buy project with a different look now, and we are able to help the making of public policies that can reach the traditional communities, the riverside communities, and we believe that this is the right model, an organized model, a transparent model, and a model that has a responsible look to the Amazon, look to our forests, to our rivers, to our leaderships, our families, to the young populations, to the children, to the adolescents, to the women. So this Amazon Buy project has this perspective for all this chain, all this public. And in fact, the state today sees our project as an economic potential and a potential model for the Amazon. So thank you very much, Miraldo. I think that you bring an example that this community business, the more organized they are, the more alive and participatory they are, the space of the cooperative and the association. It is difficult. We know that doing things with more than one person is very hard, especially for the extractivities and the family agricultures. It is a good way out. It is a very important way out to work collectively. Thank you very much. And lastly, we are going to call now Fabiana Costa Tolentino. She is the manager of sustainability of Bradesco, and she acts for more than 15 years in the financial sector. And she's an economist by the Catholic University of São Paulo, MBA in financial sector in the University of São Paulo. She has a master for the management for competitiveness in the lines of sustainability of the FG. Fabiana, thank you very much for your presence here. And I want to hear from you. Fabiana now represents a financial institution, Bradesco, and she's going to tell us the business model that the bank is developing in the ESG challenge and how the support to the Amazon developments and the impact investments are being thought of. Since they are risky business, we are seeing here a lot of starting business, many business that without the, don't have the guarantees. Is there any de-risk mechanisms that the bank is thinking about in order to invest in these impact investments? So I would like to hear from you a little bit about this. And a second question is for you to talk about the partnership with other financial institutions. I know that Itaú, Santander, and I'm not going to forget anyone here, so you can talk about this favoring the Amazon. So the society saw that with a lot of enthusiasm, but with a lot of expectation too. So what is the group doing? So tell us concretely what is the group doing in terms of the Amazon. So the floor is yours. Thank you very much, Andrea. Good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to participate in this panel representing Bradesco and hearing all of you. So throughout the presentations, I and the experience sharing, this is a little bit of what the work that Bradesco is doing. So we were a pioneer when we tried to take from the inclusion and financial education to the region. So for many years, Bradesco has been articulating this agenda. Since 2009, we have a vote in the region where we try to take the access to these the bank services to the population. And I, listening to my colleagues here, this was very relevant because we are talking about a region with high level of complexity. So since the distances and the difficulties to access and the differentiation of the cultures that exist. So every state has a particularity. And in our business model, we understood that it was necessary to be not only in the capitals with our physical presence, but to access these populations, to get to know different cultures, to understand their daily routines, so to foster all this agenda. And from this time on, we had the Express Bradesco's focus of services spread all over the region that are inside the community. Today, I have service hubs in the local trades, in the local stores, and the stores that exist inside the community where those people can have access. And before they would have to go to travel for 1 or 2 days to access a branch from the bank. Now they have access inside their communities that allow them to receive and pay and deal with money and have this exchange of financial resources to foster the local development. So the resource is inside the community. So that was one of the first challenges that we tried to overcome looking at this approach. And then we understood that how important it was to take financial education to these communities. So from our corporate university, we have developed many financial education projects in the region. We made a lot of pilot projects with leadership training, stimulating these trainings to become multipliers. So I think Leonardo said something that we don't need to put the Faria Lima understanding to take it to the Amazon. We need to be closer to to use the naming conventions that they use. So one of the exercises of financial education that we take initially is in the standard is we noticed that they didn't understand. So one of the cases that we were talking to leadership, they're talking about pirarucu in the region. So we had to draw the fish and to show that the fish has to be sustainable. How does that work? Where can you receive the money? So we have to design the step-by-step process so the person can understand the relevance of that context and adapt to their own needs. And here, when we are looking at the ESG practices, and the inclusion in financial education is essential, and Brazil has this purpose of through this his work to foster all the social and environmental work with a very specific look to the Amazon. And for many years, we have been working with strategic partnerships with the private social investment agenda. So we have supported financially, but we are facing a moment that we need to expand. There will always be a need of private social investments, but how do I enhance this under the lens of impact investments, how to foster entrepreneurship? We do have some products as the microcredit for the region. That is a microcredit that is related to these communities that I need people who understand their needs. We are talking about regions that many times people do not have documents, they don't have the address. So there are some social issues that impact the access to credit. But look, hearing Raimunda and Amiraldo, there are agents who are in a more evolved level. They are more robust in their actions. They shared their efforts and their difficulties to reach them, how complex it is to expand. And here we have tried to understand the region, to be present in the region. We cannot propose measures being from Sao Paulo. I had the privilege to get to know the region, to talk to the community, to understand their difficulties and their challenges with the small producer, the entrepreneurs, and how and why many times they cannot have access to microcredits. What is their challenge to understand their mechanisms of the financial mechanisms? And hearing all these enables us to propose new measures. So last year, the CEO of three banks, Brazil, Itaú, and Bradesco, Santander, and Santander, they decided to create a commitment to create an Amazon plan. And all three, with the potential to foster this in the region, that brought a lot of joy to us because it allows us to expand our performance, our operations. We are working in the region for many years, but we have a lot to do. We have a huge agenda with a lot of social problems and especially environmental problems that has been accentuated in the pandemic. So the Amazon, we have the objective to foster the sustainable development in the region, keeping the standing forest. And we have 10 priorities involving sustainable culture, bioeconomy, and these are months of learning because when the plan was idealized, we went to the practice and we faced a lot of complexities. And it seemed here, how do I foster, how do I unlock the economy if before that I have to deep dive in the economies, in the cultures? I have to understand the cocoa, I have to understand the acai, and I have to deep in this, to dive deep in these cultures to offer new financing mechanisms, but I need to make this bridge to link all these items so we can, in fact, unlock in a way that can promote the development and does not generate more productivity without stimulating this exchange of selling and buying. So we are in a phase of studying these cultures with, as I realized here, we are diving deep in these infrastructures. We are hearing the small producers and investors in order to draw here an action plan on how can we foster these cultures. I think that we have here a lot of work to do, And we found out that I think Ramunda and Amiraldo and Leonardo and Jonan, I think we have a lot of connections. How do we gather this ecosystem in order to work in favor of development? So the financial sector is here working and studying, and we are only going to foster all this with the support of many actors. So I think that more and more the theme of the region shows the relevance of this collaborative work, and we need especially to respect and understand their cultures. I think here we are making an immersion in the Amazon. Even if I am already working there, we felt this need to dive even deeper to understand every particularity.
Great, Fabiana. Thank you. We are reaching the end here, and we will ask for 15 more minutes so we can answer some of the questions from the audience. And I would like to thank you from the audience to be here in your lunchtime. And I would like to call for the graphic representation made by Clara Daré to show us a little bit what we were able to do here. So, Clara, what do you tell us? Good afternoon, everyone. We are still working here on this panel, but so far we have here a map of the current scenario, the challenges met on businesses and on forest soil businesses, and to tell some of the cases that were brought, and thinking about perspectives, considering also this Amazon plan that has been brought in the last speech. It's important to say that these panels will be available on the website for the event and also on the Página 22 website. Thank you. I love this work you're doing. Then you can visit on Página 22 later. We have questions for some of you, and I will give 3 minutes so you can answer quickly and also to be our ending statements. I think 3 minutes each is enough. Raimundo, I have a lot of questions for you. I don't even know how I will do it because we have 6 questions. First, something easy. If you guys have technical visitations, there are a lot of people interested on getting to know your project when COVID allows. And in another way, how do the cantinas support the social organization of the territory? Has it mobilized participation of women in the cantinas? And people want to understand a little more of what traditional population that is in this business, what are the origins of these populations, and also if you want to, I think that's it. Otherwise, we won't have time. Raimundo, you're on. The first one, about the first one, if we take visitations, yes, we do. We have a lot of people who are interested coming here and to get to know the story. And we have a joke here that I will put together a hotel here for the people who come, and students and college students as well that are very interested on coming here. And before the pandemic, we had a lot of visitations throughout the year. To get in touch with us, we organize everything. And they pay to stay here for around a week, maybe. And we are very open for people to come when the pandemic is over, for people to be comfortable coming here. About the cantinas, they support, of course, they are a great symbol of incentive to the communities and women. I was one of the first women to be a head of a cantina and to manage the mini plant. And after me, a lot of women came in. The cantina supports a lot on this point of view of women being in the front of things, and the quality of the product that we are buying is a whole other level. We are talking directly to the producers. The production comes with more quality, and it brought this vision that for the people who work with the forest, this vision of protecting what is ours and what makes our living. So this is great wisdom for each producer, and also helps keeping the forest standing. So we are fighting for each one to work wisely, and there are a lot of people from outside coming in to learn and to help. I don't remember the last part of the question. It was what is the origin of the communities? About ethics, ethnics, or are they indigenous? Who are there? In the business, we have indigenous, riverside communities, extractivists. We have 28 cantinas where they gather the products. It's just like a market. We have riverside communities, extractivists, and indigenous in 28 cantinas, including the indigenous. We are always talking to indigenous and meeting them, celebrating contracts with them as well. Not only the riverside, but all the traditional peoples from the High Xingu in the municipality of Altamira. We have several languages being spoken. Ishipai, Kuruwaya, Kayapo, we have several languages, but we are able to deal with them. All right, Raimundo, thank you. Then the team from the event will send you the rest of the questions because a lot of them arose here. Thank you for your participation. I wish you success on the continuance of your work. And it makes us think about the community and the organization. I'm very happy to get to know more about this. I have actually two questions for Leonardo. How many projects has Sitawi already financed in these years in the Amazon, and how many gave return in a short term, and how many rounds in 2021 will be, and the average ticket? Thank you, Andrea. Answering the question, the Sitawi supported around 120 organizations in the Amazon in the last years with 37 million reais, give or take. As I said before, we have impact investments and philanthropic investments. We mobilized 6 million from impact investments. It made possible for the round that will be open now in July. The website is www.emprestimocoletivo.net. We have the intention of doing 3 or 4 rounds this year, and the average ticket is from 1,000 reais. There are people who invest 1,000, 10,000, 30,000. The average is around 4 to 5,000. 80% are under 5,000. Comparatively, this is very accessible. And I invite you all to take a look on these projects or in other Sitawi projects in our annual report. Let's see if you can put the link. Otherwise, I'll put it on the YouTube chat later. In the information about what type of business, the values, the ODS, SDGs, and I want to thank the organization here for this panel. This is great to participate in. Thank you. Later, we have to talk about the transition from the impact philanthropy for the for real people. So, Jonah, I would like to end your participation here, asking when I read the coalition documents, one of your objectives is to engage private companies and the commitment of buying Amazon products. This is very interesting, but how do you think of, about doing that to engage the private sector to have this commitment of buying the Amazon? So, and if you can, please do your final remarks as well. I talked to a head of something at Unilever a few months ago, and I told him I have these projects. You buy them, and he was very excited. Do we have a product that we can put in the supermarket there? And the sale of this product could save the Amazon. So first, we need to widen the story that this is possible, and the companies to use these products in their lines, and our network have a lot of access to the families that own these companies. So in a private way, we are articulating these opportunities. We say, guys, there's a lot of foreign money who wants to help the Amazon. Actually, there's more foreign money than domestic money. So it's it's very favorable to you to help the foreign people to learn. If you want to sign in to our bulletin, you will have invitations for our events. Thank you. All right, Jonah, I think this perspective of having a commitment, if you have a ESG policies about that, this could be very interesting. This commitment of buying feeds the chain to have more quality and to seek for the proper certifications. I think this is a good measure to incentivize the demand. I would like to ask a question to Fabiana. And what is the weight of each and environmental, social, and governance indicators related to accounting and natural capital flow and flow with the economy? With these 3 letters, ASG, what is heavier in the decision making, and has how many municipalities Bradesco has reached in the northern region? These are the questions for you. I don't know if you have this data at hand. So how we look at the ASG assessment and the weight, today G still has a higher weight. In the model that we use, because it's about governance, corporate governance, the same criteria that are related to sustainable dynamics, they end up reaching this. So when we talk about Bradesco's amplitude, we are present in 100% of municipalities. It's very important to have access to all these communities. I would like to thank you for the invitation. This is beautiful to hear to you speaking. And I think we close this event with a lot of thinking and to see a lot of opportunity so that together we can follow up with this topic and look for the development of the Amazon. Thank you for your participation in Bradesco. Amiraldo, you will close our event here, and if you have a genie of the lamp there to say, Amiraldo, whatever you want for Amazon Buy to flourish, for the community to flourish, we will provide. What would you ask, Amiraldo? And please have your closing remark.
Well, would I would ask that you believe that the dream of traditional communities, the community organizations, and economic development, it is possible through community economy projects. I wanted to ask you to believe and believe that small projects in traditional communities can contribute to the development of the Amazon. I also wanted to say that sustainable base management, in fact, in the state of Amapá, are reducing with the deforestation. The Amazon by project is an example of this. The Amazon by project makes a good division, a fair division of economic results with the traditional communities. And I also want to say that we are in the beginning of Brazil in the Amazon River facing the Atlantic Ocean. It's the most preserved state in Brazil with the gold of the Amazon, that is açaí, being worked in an organized fashion, in a community way, and in a way that we respect the environment, and we have a quality product. We have 100% organic product, a vegan product, a product that comes from good, good community certifications. And this is the Amazon by project. This is the project that is contributing to the economic development of the state with the social and environmental development in a way that we respect the environment and show that it is possible to develop our region without deforestation. And saying that we are in the beginning of a dream, and this dream is being made come true. 2021 is the game changer for our projects in the Amazon buy, and we are managing to put our products in the market, a community-based product and a good quality product. And the message that I leave to you is that the Amazon buy product will reach all over Brazil and all over the world, and it's going to show the world that it is possible that the communities can grow and develop in an organized fashion, in a transparent way, in a responsible way, and on top of that, helping in the reduction of the deforestation of the Amazon. But this is the message. So please come to Amapá, please come to our state, come to meet the Amazon and our açaí. Our açaí from Amazon Buy is a totally different açaí. It's an açaí with a better quality, a better taste. Miranda is already selling the açaí of Amazon Buy. So there will be a lot of requests after these lives. Thank you very much, Amiraldo. And we are with our doors open to receive all of you here. Great. Okay, I like this model of Amazon Buy. Amazon Buy is a business, but Amazon Buy is not any business. And Amazon Buy is a business that invests in education. I like this trilogy that you made because that's what this is about. The future young people will be the managers of this cooperative in a product that is practically commodities. And we see only a few cooperatives and organizations working in such an organized fashion. So we know that we have a lot of struggles, a lot of barriers, but the perseverance and the willpower and the results that you have been showing, as the case of Raimunda, is great. So we are very late. We went over the time. I loved participating in this panel with you, and we are continuing with the next panel. On the afternoon, we'll have another panel. So thank you, the organization, the event, and all our speakers. See you later.